Hey guys, so if you're looking to know what it is like to transition from high school to college, you are in the right place because that's what we're going to talk about here today. Make sure that you like and subscribe and also leave down a comment down below if you have any questions after you watch this video. So let's get into the video. Okay, so the first one, it is definitely a given. You are going to have to make new friends. And that is really, really scary. And especially if you're not commuting and you're living on campus, you're going to have to find a roommate because a lot of colleges don't give you the option to have a room alone. And also, it's just kind of better to have a roommate your first year just so you can learn the ropes and, meet their friends and altogether meet friends. So definitely finding a roommate and making friends is super duper difficult. But what I did to navigate this is there's an app called, sorry, my dog's being annoying. There's an app, 1 second. Before my dog rudely interrupted me. As I was saying before, there's an app called Zeme, and Zeme is super duper nice because you can just, put stuff in. It's kind of like how I explain to people, it's like roommate Tinder. I swear, finding a roommate is harder than finding a boyfriend because, it was easier to find my boyfriend than find a roommate. Because I swear, roommates were, breaking up with me. I felt like they weren't actually breaking up with me, obviously, but, they would just feel like, this isn't my thing, da-da-da-da-da, I just don't think we're compatible, and it was all this drama, so definitely make sure you get a roommate. Me personally, I wouldn't want a random roommate. If that's you, if you want the whimsy of that, good for you, but me personally, I think I would crash out. I would actually go crazy because I would be so scared that, one day I'm just gonna be sleeping, and then they're gonna watch me over their bed. Being creepy and stuff. Not today, not today. That's what I'm saying, not today. Not today. So yeah, definitely finding a roommate. And then also with making friends, just talking to people, and also kind of what I did, which is semi-stalkerish. It's not stalkerish at all actually, but what I did is I just followed a lot of people on Instagram. I made a thingy for the I got in. Most colleges have them, or incoming class, so whatever college you go to, I would recommend doing that and start following people on Instagram and then DMing them because that's a good way to make friends. I know a lot of people that made lifelong friends through that. So that is definitely something very productive. So that is the first. Okay, now with the second, about the difficulty in the dining hall experience. Every college is different. Some colleges have bomb food. Some colleges, like mine, don't really have the best food. So what I recommend is getting the plan. Like most colleges, they have Flex or Plus is what they call it, and then they have the meal swipes. What I personally did, I got as much Flex as I could possibly get because I'm guilty of going home, first of all, and second of all, I don't like eating in the dining hall. I like my Starbucks and I like my Chick-fil-A. So I got as much as the spending money as I could possibly get because I only eat about 2 meals a day just because I had such a busy schedule, and that was just kind of how it worked out and what time the dining hall was open. So most definitely get as much Plus that you possibly can because that's gonna be more beneficial towards you. And yeah, and also a lot of people are worried that they're gonna go hungry unless you're super duper athlete, muscular, all that. I mean, I never went hungry. I was always fine. All my friends were pretty much always fine too, so I don't think you're really gonna go hungry, so you don't really have to worry about that. And plus, there's a lot of low budget options, at least around my college and around most colleges, I'm assuming, so you're not really gonna necessarily go hungry. And also with Uber, Lyft, all that kind of stuff, you can always go somewhere and find something to eat. Okay, so now we're on difficulty level of classes. So if you took college and high school classes, or if you took APs, you probably should be fine. I took a lot of college and high school classes, and I was pretty much fine, got all A's pretty much. So I wouldn't say that you're going to be really screwed or that you're not going to pass, but you just have to study. Me personally, I really enjoyed the transition of going to college from high school because I was in a lot of extracurriculars in high school. I was in varsity sports, so it was really hard to balance everything. But college, you honestly have more time to get things done. You have more time to be able to do things, and you can honestly sometimes sit back and take a deep breath. And that's what I really, really like about college is that you do have that time to take your deep breath and, you know, have a second to be like, oh, okay. Because I was always go, go, go. I was so busy in high school, and it's been kind of nice to be able to have a refreshing, like, it's nice. So most definitely that is something I 10 out of 10 recommend. Just, you know, if you are still in high school, take all the college and high school classes you can. Not necessarily APs, but college and high school. I found personally that I can graduate a year early, and I am graduating a year early because I took so many college and high school courses. So I most definitely recommend doing that just because you want to save your buck. You want to save your money because college is really expensive. And if you can get the easy college credit classes out of the way, do it, because it definitely has saved me a lot of money, and I was getting, you know, for sheer college, pennies on the dollar. So that is most definitely something that I try to recommend to everyone, because who doesn't want to graduate early? And I'm on the pre-law track, so I'm gonna be there for, you know, a long time, going to school for a while. So instead of, you know, 7 extra years, it's just 6, which is super duper nice. I really, really love that. And it most definitely is something that I'm gonna recommend to everyone, because APs are nice. I mean, unless you're like a rocket scientist, it's really hard to get really high scores on the AP test though. So sometimes, you know, that's a little shaky. You're like putting all your eggs in one basket. So I would most definitely, but you know, I get what you're saying. You want the weighted GPA, but try to take some college and high school classes too, because it's gonna help you in the long run. Okay, so now for making your way around campus and figuring out where everything is, I would most definitely ask someone who you know or that you can meet along your journey, an upperclassman, just to help you navigate where everything is. Ask them if they can walk you through your schedule, and most people will. They're pretty nice. Or just, you know, find someone on Instagram and you could ask them even, but make sure they're a real person and make sure they're not like a sketchy person that's gonna kidnap you, you know, because there's some of those. But that's what I would do, or just try to figure it out yourself. Some campuses aren't super duper big and you can probably figure it out, but definitely for your classes, do not do not wait till the last second to figure out where they are, because unless you actually are already familiar, so by like your second year, your third year, you shouldn't be waiting to figure out where it is day of, because you're probably gonna be late. I've known so many people that have walked into the wrong classroom, which is very, very embarrassing. But you know, it's not that big of a deal, but if you're trying to avoid those embarrassing moments, I would most definitely do that. Okay, so now with the question about how do I get my professor to like me, or how do I pass the class? The best advice I can give you, go to their office hours. Professors love it when you go to their office hours, and also don't sit in the back of the class. You don't have to sit in the very front, but don't sit in the back, because if you sit in like the front to like the middle, that means you're more approachable and more likely the professor is gonna actually know who you are. So if you're looking for a letter of recommendation or an internship opportunity, they're more likely to actually give you a good one or actually help you out in a situation, because they're not gonna help some random Joe Schmo in the back that did never come to class. And this goes into my next piece of advice. Just always try to be presentable in some sort of manner, because you never know who you're going to meet in the day. And at least with my university, there is a big alumni connection. I never know who I'm gonna talk to that day, what I'm gonna do, if I'm gonna be getting a picture taken of me, because my school is always taking stuff for social media and stuff. So you definitely don't want to be like in some like crazy onesie or something, unless you know that's your jam. If that's your jam, you know what? Good for you. Toot your horn. Me personally, I probably wouldn't want on my university's page some pictures of me in a onesie, but I think everyone has their fun thing that they do, and if that's yours, good for you. Okay, so now with dealing with drama or controversies. So first thing I'm gonna say, I would say this to anyone, say this high school, middle school, college, don't talk about people. Don't talk about people, period, because literally every single time you talk about someone, even though you think you can trust that other person, you can't, because everyone's always gonna blab. They're gonna tell someone and they're gonna tell someone, and it's gonna be a whole thing. Just don't talk about people. Just don't participate in the conversation, and you don't have to have anything to worry about. Don't be saying anything mean, don't be saying anything rude or offensive to others, and you don't have to worry about any drama. So, you know, just think about what you're doing and how you're treating people, because it is most definitely super duper not good. Super duper to be talking bad about people and to be negative and be offensive, because that is not going to get you a good rep in college. Stuff spreads really, really fast sometimes, especially if it's really disgusting. So refrain from that. You shouldn't even be thinking about those kind of things. So I would definitely make sure that, you're going to be a good person. Okay, so now for joining clubs and activities, or even trying to get an officer position when you are done with your first year of college. So most definitely joining clubs and activities, talk to the people higher up in it, just so you can get involved and be involved. And also make sure you're actually going to club meetings. A lot of times, what I really, really notice is that people aren't actually showing up for club meetings and are in clubs, which doesn't make sense, because you're just there for your extra cord, but you're not actually making an impact. And when you have a resume and you're giving it to your job or a possible job, they're going to ask you about those activities that you're doing, or they're going to ask about it in general. So if you don't have anything what you're doing on it, you just look like a lazy, inactive member. So most definitely don't be in a club that you're not actually going to participate in. That just doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand why people do that. And to go off of that, be active in the club, and then when officer elections happen at the end of the year, you could possibly get a role. So right now at my school, Duquesne University, I am on Pre-Law Society, and I'm the vice president of Pre-Law Society for next year, as well as for my school's speech and debate team, I am the head of their social media and outreach. So that is what I'm doing right now. And how I did that is I just became active and involved, and I show that I really, really care about what is going on. And that is the best advice I can give you. If you care and you put effort in, even if you feel like people aren't noticing, people are going to notice. People are going to care. So another thing, like if you have social media, make sure you're reposting the stuff. Like if they have an Instagram, repost it on your story. A lot of people do it just so there is outreach, or like make sure you come today or something like that. And the officers that are there now are going to notice, and those people do have a voice to be able to tell others like, oh, this person does really care, and they care about what is going on. So that is definitely something I find super, super important. Okay, so now combating homesickness. So I can't really talk a lot about this because I only live an hour away from my school that I go to in my college. So I went home almost every weekend. It was pretty bad. But what I can say is making sure that you're staying in touch with your family members, and that, that you're going to see them in those long breaks, and getting to really know your friends that are also there, so they can, you can have fun. And this is now time for my last piece of advice. Stay true to yourself. Staying true to yourself is the best thing you can possibly do. I don't care what age you are. If you're in high school, you're in middle school, or you're out of college or in college. Staying true to yourself and being who you are is so good and so productive, because we are only given this certain amount of time to live. So just being grateful for it, and being grateful for all the opportunities given to you, is going to be something that is really, really important. And it's okay to fail. It's okay to mess up. What you have to do after you fail, and what isn't okay after you fail, is if you give up. Don't give up, just persevere and do better, because basically failing isn't bad. Failing is not the bad thing, and that's what people fail, no pun intended, to recognize. That failing isn't necessarily the issue. It's what you do after that. It's how you jump that roadblock and do better. And that is the best advice I can give. Just be okay with failing, because, your first year of college or whatever, your first year of college is gonna be rocky. You're not gonna know everything, because it's your first year of something completely brand new. It is something that, you're going from here and you're going all the way up here. You are going into a whole nother lifestyle of whole other things. So yeah, it's most definitely gonna be difficult. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it and say, this is the easiest thing ever. No, it isn't. But it's gonna feel so rewarding, and you're gonna be so proud of yourself after it. Just surround yourself with good people, stay true to yourself, and do what makes you happy. And you got this. I believe in you. Make sure to like and subscribe. If there are questions down below, make sure to put a comment. Bye-bye.